Welcome back. In today's video, I'll be reviewing this tool. It's not an impact, it's not a drill, it's a handheld welder. So recently Temu.com approached me to review this handheld welder, and I had seen this one online so many times, and I thought this is a neat little welder. So when they gave me the opportunity to review it, to show it to you guys, I said, yes, I'll do it. Also, there's something in it for you guys as well. There's a coupon code as well that if you use when you go to buy this, you're going to get a nice discount. And I put the coupon code in the video description and also pinned in the comments. Also, most of the stuff you buy on their website, Temu.com, is free shipping. If it arrives late, there's even a $5 credit. Okay, this is where the link will take you to the exact welder here that I am reviewing today. What you don't want to forget is to download the Temu app here to make it easier to buy stuff from them. So right here, it is $132.98 Canadian. USA will be less than that. And don't forget, guys, if you're a new user, make sure to use the code that I've provided because you can get an extra 50% off this welder. And you can learn all about this welder by scrolling down. Also, don't forget that you can buy other tools on this website. You can buy toys, you can buy stuff for the house, etc. The list goes on and on and on. There's so much stuff on here. Anyway, I want to get right into it. I'm going to crack the box open here, and you're going to see exactly what arrives when you buy this little welder. Okay, I see it comes in a nice case with a handle on it too. All right, let's get this opened up here. 120 amp inverter welder. Oh, it's nice and green. You get some gloves. What's this? This is a face mask. I mean, I'll use my own. Owner's manual, the lens for the little mask. You've got a wire brush here. No, I think this is for the mask, a handle just to hold it. And now the welder itself kind of looks like an impact or a big drill. It's got cables going to it, and this runs on 110 volts. For North America, and South America as well uses this. And you've got your ground cable. Now I think the cables are about 5 feet long here. They are zip tied over here. And it looks like a heavy gauge wire as well. So if you do use an extension cord with this, make sure you use at least a 14 gauge extension cord. You don't want a cord that's smaller because you could cause issues in the welder. That goes for any electrical product anyway. Now the on-off switch is right here. And by the way, this is an inverter welder. That's why it's so small. And the way you actually strike an arc is by hitting the trigger. So on most stick welders, you're always hot once you turn the switch on, but this one is only once you hit the trigger. Here are some specs. And I think the duty cycle is around 20%. And you've got a heat setting over here. So you can click it off, and then it'll go up to almost 6, I guess, or it stops at 5 here. Here's how you put a rod in there. You just push this down, stick your rod in here, and it actually has a good bite because I'm trying to pull that rod out and it's in there very tight. Let's take these gloves out and see how they feel. They're actually pretty soft. They're not too rigid. Sometimes you get welding gloves and you can't move your fingers, let alone push a trigger. That's going to work. Okay, let's take this mask out and see what that's all about. So I guess you just kind of fold it here and just snap it together. There we go. Some of these snaps are pretty tight to get on. Okay, here it is. Now this lens here is like super black. You're not going to burn your eyes with this one. Check this out. You can't even see through it. Now it kind of looks that you put the lens from the front here, right in here. Just be careful doing that you don't cut yourself. I've never seen one like this before. And this kind of looks like it just goes over here. There we go. So I guess this is how you hold it. One hand with the mask and one with the welder. However, today I'll be using my own welding helmet. It'll be easier for me. Now I did see a few other guys who did reviews on this welder and they said it weighed about 3 pounds. So it wasn't too bad. It doesn't feel that heavy. And it doesn't feel too bad in my hands, to be honest, guys. Like you can't flex it or anything like that. This thing even has a fan inside. So when I plug it in, it might make a bit of noise. So this machine here is rated for welding rods of 1/16 to 1/8, and that's what I have here. My 1/16 rods here are 6013. My 3/32 are 7018 AC. And my 1/8 rods are 7018. So we'll see how these 3 rods perform. I do have some metal plating here that I got ready to test it out. I've got 1/4" plates here. I'll weld those together. I've got 1/8 plate and 1/16. So we'll see how this machine performs. Now I do have to use an extension cord today, unfortunately. However, it is a heavy duty cord of at least 14 gauge to match the wire on the welder. Alright, so I got it plugged in here. I want to turn it on to see what this thing sounds like. And you can hear that fan in the back. Now when you shut it off, it takes a bit of time here for it to go completely off. There we go. So I've set up the metal plate like that. Here's the ground clamp. Make sure you have a really good ground on this thing. So what I'll do here is start with the smallest rod, 1/16, 6013. Let's stick her in there. Now when you're welding with this thing, you can bend your rod to your preference if you find that it's easier for you. So I'll start it up here. So the settings go up to 5, but I'm going to bring it down to about 3. I like to start hotter than colder because once the metal warms up, I can always turn it down. So I'll start here, see what happens. And again, you gotta pull in the trigger to get a sparks. It's not hot. Not hot until you press the trigger. I'm gonna put it at around 2 because it's pretty hot. Okay, let's see how I made out on the first pass. It doesn't look too great, guys. I'm not a professional welder, by the way, but it is taking a while to get used to that little machine. But near the end here, this is the very last weld I did over here. And I actually had the setting right down to 1 at this point. Anything above 1 or 2 was wanting to eat right through. And I didn't want to weld it on my metal table here either. So what I'll do is flip this over. I'm going to stick another 1/16 rod in there. And I will try to make a better weld this time. And here's the setting. I'm going to put it at almost 2. You definitely have to get used to this. It's not like your average stick welder. The slag is hard to come off, guys. Now, these aren't really great welds, but again, I'm not a professional welder. Probably, if I used up a whole box of rods today, the 1/16, I could have a nice bead by the end of the day. And I'm going to put a 3/32 rod, a bit bigger. Hopefully I've got better luck with the bigger rod. And I'll start it at around 4 because it's bigger. If it's burning through, I'm just going to back off a bit to about 3 or 2. I'm a bit too hot, I burned right through, but it was going pretty smooth. I'm gonna back down to 3. Now if your rod sticks, just let go of the trigger. And I'm still pretty hot. I'm gonna go down to 2. Two's a bit too low, guys. It's too sticky. I'm gonna put it up just a little bit more. I think once you start to get the hang of the settings and the size of rod, you can actually end up doing pretty good. So this is the last weld here, and I had to reduce the heat quite a bit. So I started off here pretty high, then lowered it as I went. It's starting to come together, but it's taking me a while to get used to it. I'm going to run another 3/32 rod on top of this to see if I can fill everything. Let's see how I made out here. See, it's getting better. It just takes practice, guys. Okay, so I've got 2 1/4-inch plates. I will clean it up here first with my wire wheel just to maybe give the welder a better chance. I will be putting in the 1/8 rod. It's a big rod. And I'll put the settings right to the end. Okay, so I had a much harder time with the 1/8 welding rod here. Much harder than the 3/32 rod. Maybe my metal plates were too thick, guys. So right about from here to there didn't seem too bad. Okay, so I've got some 1/4-inch metal plates here, and I'm going to stick in a 3/32 rod at about 3 on the welder, 3 setting, and we'll see how that goes. That actually went pretty smooth, guys. So I got a nice straight bead here. Oh, look at how easy that slag came off. Let's clean this up here. So that's the best bead I've gotten so far on this machine. So I do think I'm part of the problem. However, this does feel a lot different than my other welder that I have that does stick. Now for the last welding repair job I want to do with this welder today is weld a snowblower auger. It's basically separated from the shaft here. I put vice grips to hold it up against it. So what I'll do is stick a 3/32 welding rod on the welder here, and we'll see if we can do a real life repair. This is working good. And here's that weld. I probably could have went a bit hotter, but this will never come apart again, that's for sure. And by far, I found that the 3/32 welding rods on this machine work the best. So my conclusion today is the welder wasn't too bad. It does take a lot of practice. I need to practice more with it to get used to it. I'm not used to the inverter stick welders. It's a lot different than what I'm used to. However, I did find that the 3/32 welding rods were extremely smooth with the machine, much more so than the 1/16 and 1/8 rods. And what I do like about it is you can plug it in any 110 volt plug-in. So if you do a job, if you do a remote job, you don't need to bring a big welder where you won't find a 220 volt plug. So if this might come in handy for the small jobs, guys, it's definitely good for the homeowner. If you like it, there's a link under the video to where you can go buy it. And again, make sure to use the discount code that is in the video description and that is pinned in the comments to get a bigger discount. And make sure to visit their website, Temu.com. There's a whole bunch of other things that you might find handy for yourself. Thanks for watching, guys, and please leave your comments below the video. I am anxious to hear what you guys think about this. Have a great day.